Welcome to the Light, Camera, Rant podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Lights, Camera, Rant. As always, I am your wonderful host, Mr. Rant, and we have got a lot to talk about in both the latest news and talking about the brand new Karate Kid Legends movie, which we're going to be diving in right now. And as you can see, I've got my headband ready to go, which was a fantastic addition that we got at the premiere this last weekend, which was pretty cool. And don't know if you can see my receding hairline, but let's not talk about that anyway. But yeah, got the headband going. And not to mention, in this past week, we also got to go to the brand new premiere for Bring Her Back, which that review is going to be coming out very soon. So stay tuned for that. So it's been a big week. It's been a lot of fun, especially Karate Kid Legends, which if you do go on our social media, go on Instagram page, you'll see me doing a horrible kick, trying to be in action for this film, which we'll get into further down the track in this episode. But if you haven't already, please go check out the movie. It is fantastic, but there was a few negatives, which we're going into later on. But as you know, we always cover up the big news that's happened the past week, which we get into a couple of reboots, a couple of surprise trailers, and a little bit more. So let's get into that. So straight off the bat, we've got the brand new Dexter Resurrection TV show that's coming out later this year on July 11th. It'll be dropping. So we got the brand new trailer, which, you know, this is a sequel to Dexter New Blood, and not really I guess you could say a technical sequel to Original Sin, which Original Sin is getting a second season, by the way, if you didn't already know that. But Dexter Resurrection is seeing him come back, but from the trailer, it looks like an Avengers type of serial killer type of situation on where we get like Peter Dinklage getting all these serial killers in, and basically you're waiting him to be and say to Samuel Jackson, like, oh, you know, you're the only serial killer in this world. You're just become a bit of a larger picture. You just don't know yet. I'm here to talk to you about the mass murder initiation. Pretty much that is the vibe for this and I'm like, I'm in. Not to mention, it's not Miami anymore. It's straight into New York. So the cast is absolutely stacked going into this. So Dexter fans, rejoice. I'm kind of curious on the fact is like, how does this? Is this going to be like who can do the weirdest kill? Who can do the most kills? Who can, you know, is it basically like the rat race for murderers? You know, how is this going to look or take shape? But July 11th. So I will be streaming this. I will be watching this as much as I can while I'm overseas, because that's pretty much where it comes down when we go. So there's actually a bunch of shows between this and between Twisted Metal Season 2 that's also coming out at the same time, and Fantastic Four. So yeah, there's going to be I'm going to be watching on this trip as much as I can. So my sleep is going to be very minimal. But yeah, Dex fans, rejoice. But yeah, July 11th, lock that in. Now, this particular news was no stranger to anything. I did not think this was going to happen. I don't know why people were wishing for it, or people were like, oh my God, we need it. It's fine as it is. We do not need a sequel. Sometimes you just don't need one. And I'm talking about Sinners. So Sinners is one of the best movies that has dropped this year. Does it deserve all the absolute hype it's getting? I have my review. Short answer, no. You can go check that out and find out why. But it's still one of the best movies of this year as it's coming out. Now, it's made a decent money at the box office, but the question is, you know, when we're going to get a Sinners 2. The ending didn't really push that there was going to be a number 2, and I don't think Ryan really wanted one. We don't need one. As I said, sometimes we just get the sequel, and that's all. Sorry, just the normal one, just one movie, and that can be fine. So, yes, he's come forward. He said there was no plans, rightfully said, for a Sinners 2, which I think is perfectly fine. We don't need one. It's just, here's the one movie. This is what it looks like. That's it. It's done. Not to mention, I don't even know where you would take that film going into. You'd have to be a completely different time period. It would have to be completely set of different people. You can't use Michael B. Jordan again because it wouldn't make sense. And again, like very much like Joker 2, it might diminish. I might diminish the first one because you're like, oh, why are they bringing these characters back? Yes, and I can make that Michael B. Jordan did come back for Black Panther 2 when he died in the first one. That's a completely different scenario. She can't strike lightning twice like this. So for the people who are really wanting it, you're lucked out. And I don't think it needs one, but I also don't think it's the absolute B's and E's, which people are like really pushing for. But one in the era of reboots, sequels, legacy seasons, no show is untouched, and which we are currently seeing the King of the Hill reboot or legacy season that is coming out, which we see all together. Ooh, who have we got? I'll play on the YouTube. The Shakila. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Good to see you too, man. Thanks for going past on the YouTube. Really appreciate it, as always. I don't know if you've seen The Karate Kid, but if you want to stay for the entire time, if you want to know how good of a film it is, definitely stay tuned. But yeah, the King of the Hill reboot is coming. It's dropping on both Hulu. It is dropping on Disney Plus at the same time, and it's coming August the 4th. And basically what's been happening is the family have been away. They've been living in a different country, and now they're coming back to go live in their hometown, Texas, and see what everyone's been up to. I feel like it's been a little while since this got first announced because I was like, okay, it is happening. It's not happening. And now we are getting it, which is fantastic because, King of the Hill was right up there when I was a kid. You'd have Futurama, you'd have The Simpsons, you have King of the Hill. And then eventually it turned into The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, and Bob's Burgers. But, King of the Hill was right up there and it had a huge fan base. So seeing this back on the big the silver screen is going to be very interesting. Will it live up to the original season? That's the big question. But there's a lot more hype around this than I expected. But it looks like everyone's down for it. It's going to be curious to see, Hank Hill and what the world is today, not back then. So that's going to be an interesting aspect. But the best thing is it's going to be on Disney Plus. So, and which of course it was going to be. But sometimes when these shows get announced, what I think is going to be the streaming platform is completely opposite. So I'm like, why? But okay, great. But yeah, King of the Hill, August, lock that in. Now, unfortunately, speaking of Black Panther, just before, the EA Black Panther game is being cancelled. So, because the studio that was making the game has been closed as well. But EA have mentioned the fact there still is another 3 Marvel games in the current works. For the first one, they're going to pop up an Iron Man. Look, I know a lot of people were excited about this. It's kind of damn shame. This is the second superhero game we've seen not see make the light of day, being the original one being Wonder Woman, which this and Wonder Woman were announced pretty much the same time. So it's a really darn shame to see this will not see the light of day, especially when Marvel really needs a solid game. There was so much wrong with Marvel Avengers, and by a solid game, I do know about Marvel Rivals, but I mean, single player in that kind of aspect. That's why I come not online game, like just a story-driven game is what Marvel needs right now. And I still think the fact that Marvel Ultimate Alliance was fantastic, the Punisher games were great, but yeah, it's a darn shame that this hasn't. I do hope that everyone who is a part of that studio does find other jobs and go on to make fantastic games. Not to mention, really random is that Helldivers, again, is getting absolutely negatively reviewed due to a particular set of people not liking the fact the president died. I'm pretty sure it was, which is so random. And that game is just had such an up and down trajectory with really positive reviews, really negative, really positive, really negative. Because they got the first negative reviews was when Sony made the fact that you must have a PSN to play this game. Even if you're playing it on Steam, you have to play it, which caused a massive uproar, massive grief for the entire thing. So that was just big. So of course, that negative bombed the game straight down, and eventually came back positive, and it's kind of darn shame. Also, the whole battle with Super Earth, it's over, which I can't believe, because I was really enjoying that. So, but now it's go back to killing bugs and killing basically Terminator robots, automatons. That's really what it's going to be right now until the next big thing, because I have no doubt they've got something else that's going to be planned. It's going to be a fourth fraction, has to be. It's going to throw it all into disarray. Or it's going to be something that's going to be really cool, because they're cooking on this game, and they've constantly. I know people are like, it's so repetitive. I'm like, yes, you're the same people that play COD again and again and again. And you also play Fortnite again and again and again, which, oh my God, Fortnite in the past week, I don't know if you ladies and gentlemen, ranters and ranters have seen it. There is an absolute fantastic opportunity right now where you can actually use Star Destroyer and basically kill everyone on the map. It's a sick. Definitely go check it out. It's incredible, and I'm like watching, going, my God, it is. Fortnite is the greatest game of all time for popularity, revenue, and just the sheer volume of collaborators in this game. But my question is, Fortnite's pretty good, but when are we going to get Fortnite 2? Because when are we going to get a sequel? We're going to get GTA 6 before we get Fortnite 2. So that's the bigger question that we need to ask at this moment. But yes, unfortunately, Black Panther game is gone. Yeah, another game is coming back. Now, I do wish the studio absolutely fantastic results. I hope that they've learned from the first one and they're going to hit this out of the park. But yes, Cyberpunk 2 has gone. Oh my God, where's my eye? Cyberpunk 2 is in pre-production at the moment, and which it's going to be still going to be a very long time before we're going to see this game. But I am all in for it. Cyberpunk was a fantastic game that had a horrible launch, and look, and yes, it's been delayed again and again. But what the game is now is fantastic. It is beautiful. It is, it's Blade Runner mixed GTA. It's fantastic. I love the game when it came out. And I remember watching the first trailer being like, I'm sold. I'm in all of this. And then it just, such a rough launch of a game with everything that went wrong with it, the bugs and what happened with PlayStation 4, how it couldn't run the game. Oh, geez. It was just, very rough. And it's going to be well documented, but very much like No Man's Sky. They've pumped really into it. They've made sure to give the updates, give it back to the fans, and now the game is absolutely crisp. But are you excited for Cyberpunk 2, or are you a little bit burned from Cyberpunk 1? Or have you given up on Cyberpunk altogether and moved on to something else? Let me know what you think. Also, we have our brand new Hermione, Ron, and Harry. Oh, so it's like everyone. Cast for the brand new HBO Max Harry Potter TV show upcoming. So that got announced. So look, go and help these kids. For them, they're about to go on one wild journey that is going to take up the next 10 years of their life, even more. And I wish them all the best. It'd be great for them to meet, the original actors. That would be a great photo opportunity to see. But, I did see someone's post that, you can recast, but you can't recreate the magic. And saw this. And I was like looking at going, that's very true. That's very true to see. And it's going to be interesting in the sense how is this going to feel different? How's this going to look different? Because you got to remember, you had John Williams doing the score. You had all these practical sets, the castles, everything. So how is this going to be a little bit different? And now, unlike the original movies, now you're introducing American actors into these massive roles. And at the moment, Harry Potter, the HBO Max TV show, I'm pretty sure is set for, I want to say 2026, but we still haven't got anything at the moment based on it. So, date. Harry Potter TV show. Yes, okay, yeah. No, it's still set currently for premiere in 2026. But at the same time, it might be even pushed back to 2027 because it starts filming some of this year for the brand new Harry Potter TV show. So what's going to look like is going to be very interesting. The music, it's going to be weird, but at the same time, it's going to be, look, if they're going to go the way they think they're going to go, and they've said it, is that they're going to use this as an opportunity to go really in depth onto the characters, go really with everything in the books, everything they missed in the movies. That's how they're going to do season by season. It's meant to cover every single movie. How it's going to look like with, how each episode is going to end and then move on for this being the book, how it's going to be broken down to, especially with all the people that's casting this. You got to remember, this is going to be the next 10 years of your life. Like, this isn't going to end until like 2037. Oh my God. Well, that's if it's one per year, but it could very much be 2040. Oh God, I can't believe the way I'm saying that. I'm going to probably have a kid who's 10 by the time this show ends, or 5 or something like that. Because God, this is going to take so long to see and eventually come out. And HBO Max is going to be pumping the money into it. We're talking Game of Thrones stuff like this. So it's great to have the fact that HBO Max, the app, is finally dropped into Australia. So we're all ready for that because we were ready for The Last of Us Season 2. But it does hear coming here. HBO Max disabled comments on the cast announcements in response to threats and insults. Yeah, that's not a good sign. And that's what I mean. Like, God help these kids going forward with their lives. Like, it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity for them for what they're going to be doing. But as Dominic McLaren as Harry Potter, Alistair Stout as Ron Weasley, and Arabelle Stanton as Hermione Granger. Like, Godspeed to those kids. Ignore everything. Enjoy the ride because you're about to go on one hell of a journey. And talking about one hell of a journey, we are finally, which I feel like, as I'm saying this, that just the fact of how long. Let me just double check this before I say it, because it's wow. The fact that we in the past week we finally got the official
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.